Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Greg, your co-host to the Grilling to Get Away podcast, and welcome to the next episode. I'm here with my buddy Joe. Joe, man, thanks for hopping on with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. So, Joe has been a huge supporter of the business over there at True Value, Rosman's True Value in Muskego. And then you also participated in our barbecue competition about a month ago now, a little over a month ago. And you and Brandon and the Rosman's team took first place in sausage. So I want to get more into that. But Joe, why don't you give the audience, the listeners, a little bit of background about who you are, how long you've been barbecuing and grilling, and then also kind of what type of equipment do you have in the backyard?
Sure, sure. Well, again, my name is Joe. I'm one of the managers here at Rosman True Value in Muskego. We're your locally owned hardware store, family owned business. Been running since 1976, right in this area here. Currently in the store. I'd be one of the operations managers here. Um, I'm also a certified Traeger Tech, so I go out on the road a lot, fixing a lot of grills. So like, I know these grills, I can sell these grills, I can fix these grills, and I can use these grills.
Yeah,
So
very
yeah,
nice.
like in that way, yeah. So like neighborhood store, hometown feel.
How long you been doing it for? So when did you start barbecuing and grilling?
I mean, growing up in Wisconsin, it's a brewer's tailgate. You're there as a kid, even. But growing up into it, it was probably a few years back when we really like cranked things up. I would do a whole hog at the house every 3rd of July, kind of kick off the 4th of July weekend. So that was really one of those things that kind of like really got me interested. Um, from there, we kind of started bringing these grills and the pellet smokers into the store. So we started learning a lot about that. Along the way, I was working part time at a restaurant too, and they have a 15-foot competition smoker. So I'd be doing 160 pounds of wings at a time, 40 whole chickens, or 20 briskets, kind of thing. And then that kind of just evolved right back into this, doing it at a little more like professional style level of things. Traeger's really good on their Instagram page with like keeping the audience and their customers engaged in things. So it's weekly contests, and like now you don't even have to think of what to do. It's like, okay, well, I need to do chicken wings. How do I do chicken wings to win a prize? So
Uh,
kind of like next level things. So
sure, sure. So what do you have in the backyard? Do you have a Traeger? What else do you got?
Yep, I have a Traeger Pro 34. It doesn't have any of the Wi-Fi on it, but I went with a bigger grilling space, so I had more options to do things, larger things or more multiple things. Then on the flip side, I have a 14-inch Weber Smoky Joe kettle that I can pop on the table anywhere. It fits in the back of the Jeep, and I can ride and roll with that. And I also have one of the Uni pizza ovens, which is really neat. Those are a lot of fun too. 90 seconds, 60 seconds to a pizza kind of thing like that. And, those can be a lot of fun on the make your own pizza nights. But that's what I'm running. I got the three of those going currently.
Which one do you think you use the most? Is it the Traeger?
Oh, leaps and bounds by far the Traeger.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it, and it's probably been 14, 16 months since I've actually used a oven inside a building. Everything that I cook on what would be an oven is going on the Traeger.
Okay, nice. What's your preferred like blend? Do you have like a preferred pellet blend that you use with that?
The new one that I'm really riding fun with is it's by Cowboy brand. They known for their lump charcoal, but then they got into the pellet business, but still keeping that lump charcoal thing. So it's actually a hickory like charcoal pellet. So I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds now. The charcoal kind of taste comes through with the wood fire taste too. So
Oh,
that was one of our little tricks that we used over at the competition the other
wow.
few weeks back.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I never heard about that. And I know a lot of people kind of have that, that challenge is kind of getting that, traditional, maybe charcoal or wood type of flavor that comes through with the pellets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
and it really works. It's got a unique flavor. You can definitely taste the charcoal in what you're cooking, but you're still running it right through the pellet smoker. So yeah, very
Okay.
nice. It's a lot of fun.
Oh,
Charcoal. Yeah.
yeah, that's a great tip. That's a great tip. So you got the Traeger, you got the 14-inch, you got the Uni pizza oven.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your first one? Like when you first started, was it just a regular charcoal, or did you start off right away with the pellet?
No, the pellet kind of came along the way it was, and then being the dealer at the store here, it was like it made it a lot easier to sell them, knowing how to like use them and how they operated, and
Yeah.
of course that get a discount on it. So
Yeah.
it helped, and then to have it, and then now being a trusted person that I own one of these too. I'm not just trying to sell you the cool name, cool thing
Yeah.
kind of. I own
Yeah.
one too.
Yeah. And you're a certified tech. So what when you go out and you fix, or like what's one piece of advice or tip you would give to, Traeger users or even pellet users to make sure that their equipment stays up and running?
As silly and simple as it sounds, to just use it. Most of the time, what will be the problem will be their auger will clog on them, and that'll be a breakdown of the pellets due to usually like moisture. And then when they like dry out again, it'll turn almost into like a piece of wood in the tube, which will never allow the auger to then fill and keep fueling your fire. But to use it frequently would be continually putting new pellets in, and continually you won't get that breakdown of them. Then they do recommend a clean every 15 to 20 hours. So, like, as simple as it sounds, as silly as it may be, use it and keep it clean. And you should never see me pulling up in your driveway. So,
Yeah, so yeah, that's always a good tip. You use it and then clean it. So how would you clean an auger like that? Do you have like a tip or a technique that you use that works best?
and again, if you're using it, you should never have to clean that part of the grill itself. It would be continually like putting fresh pellets in.
Sure.
It's a little more complicated if it does get clogged, and usually Traeger's got a pretty good warranty program too. So you could always call them if you were in a bind to take it apart. But it's usually a pretty quick fix, and it's super simple to even avoid in the first place.
Nice. Well, that's another great tip. If you got a pellet one, and keep it going, use it so it doesn't get clogged like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, awesome advice. Well, I want to jump in um, because I'm really interested in some of the cooks that you did at our competition. We had the ribs, but then we also had the sausage piece, and you and Brandon took first place in the sausage, and the judges just loved it. It was by far away one of the best ones out there. So um, I'd love to talk through that cook with you. So just a background, for the people listening, is we gave each contestant like a roll of sausage. So they had like almost like 3 to 4 feet of sausage in a roll, and then you basically got to do whatever you wanted with it. There was no parameters on how to use it. So, Joe, how did you go about deciding what you were going to do with that sausage, and then how did you kind of create it?
Well, in any good competition, like practice first. So
Mm.
we called the local butcher and we got ourselves a sausage wheel, two of them actually, so we can kind of like see how this was working. Kind of came up with the method of cooking of how we wanted to do it and the basic recipe of it. And then kind of almost the day before, it was like, well, then we found out we needed to use the Jack Daniels in one of our cooks. Okay, well, problem solved. We injected it every couple inches. We put a squirt of the Jack Daniels rye, it was, I believe, right,
Yeah.
into it. And then kind of last minute at cook time, we were like, let's make it spicy too,
Mm.
to give it a little more kick. Some of the things I feel that we did pretty well on that one was serving it on the bed of the peppers that were cooked in a maple habanero sauce. Another one of the companies we sell here, so we wanted to use and highlight products that we sell here.
Yeah.
So we cooked the peppers in that, so I think like presentation helped really well with that too. Plus, it gave you like that sweet heat, like kind of added to the like dry heat on the sausage with the whiskey. But then talking to all of your judges at the end, the magic ingredient was the cheese. We cooked, not melted, cheese onto it. So it was actually like cooked cheese that was then placed on, and then being as it was soft, it would kind of caress the sausage.
So you,
So
so you
that,
had, yeah, this was like multi-layered. You had the sausage. It sounds like you injected it with some of that Jack Daniels that we gave you. And then
yep,
you had the peppers. Was it just peppers or was it onions too?
yeah, I think onions and peppers, and then the pepper
Onions.
medley again for
Mm. Yeah.
looks.
Yeah.
Presentation matters.
Yeah. And then you said you used what was it? Habanero. What you
Yeah,
could
it's a
you, could- you could say what brand it was too. We're not picky like that. So say, what brand did you use and how did you like it?
it is by the General's hot sauce, and we do carry their full line as well. But
Yeah.
as full disclosure, disclaimer, all of our seasonings and rubs and sauces, because there are so many of them, they're either made right here in Wisconsin or they're a veteran-owned company. It's one of
Nice.
those two, and that's the only way you're getting in.
Yeah.
So the Generals is another veteran-owned company that we know
Yeah.
through the True Value company as well. All of their stuff comes in bottled in glass hand grenades, which is
Yeah.
awesome. And they have like 5 or 6 or so different sauces that they do. And this one was their maple mayhem, they call it. And it's a habanero infused maple syrup. So, like, don't think pancakes, think chicken and waffles and, like,
Uh,
breakfast, but late night.
yeah.
That's what cook the peppers in there.
So you cook the peppers in that, and then so when you were smoking the sausage, you used the Traeger. I saw that. What temp did you have it at, and then what blend were you using for that? Was it that charcoal blend that you were talking about?
We actually used the
Oh,
Weber gas
okay,
for the sausage, and then we cooked it right in the pan so it stayed with all of the moisture and all of the juices, and then we used the Traeger for the ribs.
okay. So you used the Weber. It was a propane, right? Propane grill,
Yep.
and just was it indirect grilling? Was it direct grilling? How'd you do that?
Yeah, it was pretty like indirect because we had a long cook time on it, so we wanted to make sure that it did cook slow. It did take a long time, and it did like have time for all of those juices to like the whiskey to mix with the syrup to mix back in, and the constant mixture of everything as it simmers and kind of takes on its whole new flavor then combined there. So that was pretty much just yeah, and then it was the cheese was cooked on the side burner then too.
Okay, so what type of cheese did you use?
I believe it was provolone.
Provolone cheese. So you cook the cheese
Yeah.
on the side. Did you add anything into there? Any flavor, any mixes in that?
Not into the cheese. It was like in like the stack of slices kind of went into the pan to like not melt, but heat up and soften more so, and then kind of like crisp on the outside.
Okay. So you had that, then you cut it up, you put it all together into the box, and you put the cheese right on top then?
The cheese came on before we cut it. We cut it with the
Okay.
cheese on. Yeah.
Okay.
So the
Put
cheese
the
kind of
cheese.
came as soon as the cheese was done is when we started placing the cheese onto the sausage. And then we pulled it out and cut it right in the pan with the peppers and then pulled out the serving of it then.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was fantastic from what I've seen. I didn't get a chance. I think I had a chance to taste some of the sausage, but I'm not sure if I had it all together like that. But yeah, the judges were blown away because meat, cheese. I think you were the
Yeah.
only ones to put like that combination together. So
Mm-hmm.
that was awesome. That was an awesome cook. And I can
Cool.
imagine if somebody's listening and they wanted to try that. I mean, you could just throw that on some, get some hoagies or something like that, throw it on there, and you got a nice, sandwich or brat
Yep.
style with the cheese on top. So that was awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And then so that was your sausage cook, but then I also wanted to pick your brain a little bit. You did on the ribs. You used something interesting that I never had seen before, which was a white claw. And
Yeah.
so you used a can of white claw on your ribs in the cook. So talk us through that. Like, how did you come up with that idea, and then how did you incorporate that into the cook?
Well, you seem to always have a drink in hand while you're grilling, and my choice is always the White Claw, so it's always right there. So I try and incorporate it into almost every cook. I've done like candy nuts with White Claw in it. I've done like pizza dip with White Claw in it. So it's a fun, ingredient, I guess. It would be like your beer can essentially, where you're just kind of absorbing the moisture from it. But when I did the ribs, it was basically a salt and pepper season and then cooked bone side down for the couple hours at right about 260 or so, I think, because we were under a little more time constraint for the ribs than the sausage. So we kind of had to up the temp to, speed the time up there a little bit there, shorten the time.
Mhm.
Again, in practice on this one, we did the ribs. I probably made 8 sets of ribs here at the store, like all different ways. So it was a very like team effort on that one. But then I'll wrap them with a couple pads of butter in it. I saw you posted that on your page too. That couple pads of butter there adds that extra like um, crispy to it then too. And that's where I would pour the White Claw in right into like a funnel that I would make out of the aluminum foil while I would wrap them and then let that sit for another couple hours and then unwrap them one more time. And then we glazed those ribs in the maple mayhem also so
Mhm.
that the flavors then we figured will, kind of be similar. So you could tell that this came from our grills
Yeah.
to identify us.
So was there a specific flavor of White Claw that you used?
Um, probably what was ever in the cooler at the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting because I saw you had it lined up on the table in front, and I was like, I had to ask. I was like, "Are you going to be using White Claw in your cook?" And then sure enough, man, you guys were using it, and you just put it in the before you wrapped. You just put a little bit in there.
Yeah.
Um, so that's I think that's a grill tip for people listening to maybe give it a try. And I think you coined the term "cooking with the claw."
Cooking with the
Um,
claws.
yeah. Yeah,
Funny.
I think you might see some people trying that out if they listen to the episode because definitely unique flavors to be able to add that in there.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah,
was good. And again, getting creative, which is what we love to see. People just trying new things, seeing how it works out, and yeah, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, well, we'll try something different next time.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's great. So you work, in a grill center, and you have people coming in all the time. We do have people that may be new to grilling or barbecuing that listen or watch the podcast. So, like when you have somebody walk in that maybe hasn't grilled or barbecued before, what are some of the questions that you're asking them to help them decide what would be the best thing for them?
Yeah, first, I mean, and foremost, it's like, what method of fuel do you want to use? Are you looking for something charcoal? Are you looking for something pellet? Or are you looking for something gas? There's a few little like nuances in there too. The griddles, of course, so we have those too. It's usually figuring out their fuel, and then at that point, it's kind of like I like do it like musical chairs where you're walking around the circle of all of these grills, and I'm asking questions, and they're giving me answers, and like before you know it, we're standing right in front of the grill. It's absolutely perfect for them, size wise, or how many burners on a gas grill do you need, or how big of a pellet grill do you want? Do you use Wi-Fi or not? There's a lot of people that aren't interested in hooking up their grill to their phone. And
Hmm.
we have that too. And there are a lot of people that are like, I want that one that hooks up to my phone. So,
Hmm.
some of these things are, people almost shop for themselves. And I just kind of like place it in their hands for them.
Okay. So you just
Yeah.
ask them a bunch of questions, making sure that you
Mhm.
have it, what they're looking for in mind, and then basically, they're the ones picking it out, but you're just guiding them along that process.
Mhm.
Um, so and then also like along with the grill or the smoker, like what's usually one piece of equipment or additional piece that you recommend that they buy with it, whether that be a cover or something else. What is it usually that people are picking up when they're picking up their grills as well?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, without like the fuel, you'll need that. So if you're getting a pellet grill, you're going to need, pellets or charcoal. You're going to need charcoal. But beyond that, some things like the Traegers or the pit bosses, these are technically considered electrical appliances. So they have computers and like outlets and plugs. So a cover is a great idea if you're keeping it outside. That's usually one of the quickest, easiest things to recommend. If you're parking it in the garage, don't worry about it. Let's move on to the fun things. If you're going to keep it outside, let's make sure that you're protecting your investment. We always like to say, buy your last grill first. You buy this, you invest all this money, and you're so excited for it, but then you're just going to let it sit and rust outside. So take care of it. Cover first. Things like Traeger, they make some like nice shelves. Those are really nice, like functional kind of accessories to buy first. A spatula is a spatula when you get right down to it. So, like, is that the first thing you need to buy? Not really, but yeah, usually cover would be immediately would be suggested would if you're outside storage. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great tip, especially here, in the Midwest where we get quite a bit of rain and snow and stuff during the winter. So making sure that that's covered. So, Joe doesn't have to roll up there in the springtime to get it all working again. Um, that's a, yeah, it's a great point. And then, you've been doing this for a while now. If you could think back to like when you first started barbecuing or grilling, what piece of advice would you give yourself if you could go back in time and talk to yourself?
Just to like keep going and keep having fun with it. And like, there's no right way, no wrong way. You do what you want. If you want to dump your white claw into your chili, you dump your white claw into your chili, you know.
Yeah.
Always be creative and like have fun with it and enjoy it too, you know. It's nice when we would do the hog, there'd be 60, 70 people in my yard, you know, and we're all of them my best friends. No, but we were all like family that day. It's a lot of like fun. So like stick with it, always have fun, and keep evolving. Don't do the same thing. You know, I don't think I would have a like, what have I done a lot of times thing. It's usually something new every time,
Yeah.
new ingredient or new cut of meat or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's great point, great tip. Keep going. Um, so what kind of last question for you. What's something that you haven't done but you're like looking forward to doing or like you would love to do eventually?
well, alligator was on that list, but you were there for that one, so I got that
Yeah,
checked. So
yeah.
to move forward from there, we're doing a grill sale here. I think, November 19th, we're going to do a demo and then we're going to go through to the Black Friday, I think, kind of coinciding that way. And I think at the moment, turducken is kind of taking the choice as to where we're going to go with the next smoke.
Oh, very nice. Turducken. Yeah, I haven't done one of those either. So
Yeah,
that's I might have to stop by to see how it goes.
right. Well, you know where to find me. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We'd love to
Yeah.
have you, or,
Yeah.
again, for sure.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk off air here and maybe we can set something up. All right, man. Well, Joe, I appreciate having you on and you talking some really good tips, especially from you, being a certified Traeger Tech. I think that's valuable for people that might be just looking to buy or have one to keep it running. Um, where can people find you if they want to follow you, like on Instagram or social media? Yeah, what's your handle?
I'm on Instagram, and that would be at hardware_Joe.
All right.
You could also follow. We have our True Value. It's Rosman_True Value_ Skigo. So
Yeah.
that would be our store's Instagram as well too. And those are usually where the fun posts go. So that's where all the Traeger contests are. I got my pennant on the way now too from the last victory. So
Nice. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. You post a lot of good content out there, not only under yours, but also like that Rosman's the business Instagram. So there's a lot of grilling and barbecuing and stuff going on there. So we'll make sure to put those links in the show notes so people can find you. But Joe, man, it's been a pleasure having you on. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk a little barbecue with us.
super awesome. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No problem.
Okay.
Cheers.